Hey guys, what's up? Apex Rebel X here. So want to do something a little bit special for episode 12 uh, of the X Storm show. Sadly, Mr. Magic Michael Vard was not able to join me this week, nor was JJ420, as there is a little bit of a bug going around, a little bit of a health hazard, strep throat, the flu. Uh, and especially when you live in a house full of kids, you're guaranteed to almost always get sick. However, uh, this next episode is kind of going to be a little bit of a behind the scenes kind of deal for you guys. We kind of wanted to show you guys how we tend to come up with our ideas. That, you know, the ideas for not only this show, but the JJ420 show as well, officially starting here soon, within the next week or so, kind of soon. Um, Pretty much, we wanted to show you how we tend to come up with these ideas, how we tend to start conversations, and one topic leads to another and another and another. Um, and it's pretty much to the naked eye insanity. We have a habit of going from one topic to the other. And before anyone decides to comment the obvious here, yes, I have shaved my face. The beard is gone. However, the beard is growing back as I needed to pretty much reconstruct my beard for something special coming soon. Uh, but with all of that said and done, something we thought you guys would appreciate is an inside look into Eldingstommer Entertainment. The way we discuss our ideas and even the topics we get on, we really wanted to record pretty much a conversation how we tend to map out the skits for the various different shows we're giving you guys at any given time. Now, sadly, season 1 of the X Storm show will be coming to an end soon. June the 4th, soon, will be the season finale for season 1. The JJ420 show, however, due to its late start, will continue into production. I do have another project, a live action, that will be coming to you guys soon. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because if you don't hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell, you never know what we're going to be doing. So, with that being said, I also wanted to let you guys know that we do have a Facebook profile under the name of Eldingstommer Entertainment. You can find us on Facebook. Just use the abbreviation at Eldingstommer. That's ELDINGSTOMR. We really appreciate it if you guys followed us on Facebook. You can get more news and information on our Facebook profile absolutely free. News such as what we're working on, and uh, even upcoming shows that we may not mention here on the YouTube channel, but might hint towards on the Facebook profile. You'll even be able to know exactly when our website, Eldingstommer Entertainment or eldingent.com, forgive me, will be officially launched and up and running. We're still working on it, you guys. We want to make sure that we have enough product in our store to really matter, to really get you guys interested. We want to make sure the membership system is operating at full capacity. We just want to make sure that the moment we launch, you guys have got something incredible. And do remember that every new subscriber who joins either our gold class or legendary class memberships get the first 14 days of your membership absolutely free of charge. After the 14 days, gold status is 99 cents, and the legendary membership will actually be $2.99. You can't beat these deals. You get all kinds of exclusive perks you won't find anywhere else. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to let you guys get into this episode. Uh, but before you do, please make sure you like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. Um, our season one finale, like I said, will be on June the 4th. We have one more episode that'll be coming out later this week of the X Storm show. I'm going to try to have Mr. Magic Mike Ovard on the show one last time before we do the season finale. The season finale will be launched live on Facebook, however, so any one of you guys who happens to be on Facebook when we go live or on YouTube in that instance, make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us. There may even be talks of a TikTok coming soon. All of this just simply for you, our beloved viewing audience. We're coming up with really great stuff every day. And as a matter of fact, hopefully by the time the season one finale comes around, you guys might actually get a very special treat. Something I've been working on for you guys for quite some time. And you're probably been waiting on a release date for it. That's all I can say for now. But I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode of the X Storm show. And I really hope that all you guys will be with us during the season one finale. I'm Apex Rebel X, and this is the X Storm show.
So what exactly was the Vietnam War? I'm so confused about how all of this works.
Well, Vietnam has a lot of resources, like petroleum-based resources. They have mines that are rich with gold, silver, precious ores, steel. Vietnam was more of a publicity stunt in terms of the U.S. The U.S. was trying to help them declare independence from the other countries that kind of owned a piece of their asses here and there. Kind of like when the U.S. got started. Believe it or not, the American colonies were broke up between three factions. The British, the Spaniards, and the French. Hence, during the first establishment, the colonizing of the American colonies, the French and Indian War happened. Now, the French tried to align themselves with the Native Americans.
Wait. So this all happened here in the U.S.?
Yes. The
Okay.
U.S. has seen its fair share of battlegrounds. The French and Indian War was before the American colonies.
Does this have to do with South and the North or whatever?
No, this is way before the Civil War. This is back in the 15 and 1600s that the French and Indian War was taking place.
So they were trying to take over the Native Americans' land.
Pretty much. It was a battle for supremacy between Britain and France. And at the time, the French aligned themselves with the Native Americans. They got in good with what tribes would fight. And the tribes basically saw the decision as this: which is the lesser of two evils? Most Native Americans see the world like that. Instead of here's the pros, here's the cons, it's which of these two situations is the lesser evil? Which is going to get my hands the dirtiest, and which is going to leave my hands the cleanest?
So did they? Of course, they obviously.
The British won. Yeah.
Okay, that's.
The British won and the American colonies were established. There was Carolina, there was Virginia, there was Georgia. Florida was not yet established, but it was on its way to being established. Um, by the time 1776 came around, which is the year that the American colonies declared independence from Britain, the reason why they declared independence from Britain was taxing the American colonies so bad that the American colonies were actually struggling to maintain survival. They needed things, and Britain wanted to make sure that they kept a tight leash on the American dog. And that's what we were to them, was dogs. You know,
What do you mean we
Americans.
Americans?
The American colonies were basically just dogs.
I'm confused.
The British didn't care for the Americans because we lived a more free way of life.
Okay, so did the British end up going?
We declared independence against the British and declared war at the same time.
So that's where the Civil War came in?
This is where the American Revolution comes in. The first true American war.
So how is it that the countries across from us or whatever are not free like us? What do they do that is different from us?
Well, for one, in Great Britain, you cannot own a firearm. You can own something used for hunting, like a rifle or something of that nature, but you're not supposed to own an actual sidearm or anything like that.
Do they even have cops there?
Yes. They have police. That's what Scotland Yard is. Scotland Yard is the British police.
Okay, so all of that just has something to do with guns.
They have stricter rules. Like, if you spit on the street there, you can actually do time for public indecency.
You do realize it's the same here, right?
You can spit on the ground here and not do any time. Just spit. They don't like it. It's rude to them. Their society is built on a strict set of what we call gentleman's conduct.
Okay.
Gentleman's conduct means this is the line, we don't cross it. This is how we do business. You hold an upstanding posture. Always keep your hands neatly to the side or your left hand slightly folded over your belly button. They have strict upbringing.
Like girls can't wear pants and shit?
Well, it's more modern today, but yeah, kind of. Feministic careers are certain careers like secretaries or fashion designers. It's gotten more loose in the modern age, but yeah, women play a certain role.
That is so stupid.
And it's like that everywhere. Believe it or not, in Britain, you don't drive on the right side of the road, you drive on the left.
Yeah, I know that.
Everything in the Western Hemisphere is the only part of the world that you drive on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the road. You don't drive on the left. Only in the Western Hemisphere, North America, Central America, and South America.
Why is that?
Because we're all left-handed. We do everything literally backwards just out of spite. Just out of spite to what got our nation started.
That is the most retardedest thing I have ever fucking heard.
Can't
we all just be peaceful? Like,
there is no prosperity in peace. You want peace? I'll tell you what I used to learn in ROTC and in boot camp. Viscus patent parabellum. You want peace? Get ready for war. The only way you shall ever have peace
is to prove it.
is to prove it. to beat the person who's challenging you and let that be that. But nowadays, things have gotten too sophisticated for that.
Now it's not just put your dukes up, it's put your fucking hands in the air.
Yeah. Raise a fucking firearm, raise your guns. The world has forgotten the simplicities of what it once was. Our advancements in technology have made us lazy.
Ain't that the truth?
But getting back to my little history class for you. We ended up winning against Britain. Obviously.
Yeah.
We declared independence, we won. This is when we started expanding our borders to the west. We started creating more states. Ohio, everything like that. South Carolina and North Carolina became a thing. It wasn't just Carolina anymore. It was North and South.
So when was the president and the government supposedly made?
Right after we declared independence from Britain, the government formed. The first president of the United States was George Washington.
Yeah.
Not just George Washington, General George Washington of the American militia.
What's militia?
A form of military, civilian military.
Okay.
That's pretty much all America had to fight with was its people. We got aid from the French after a while. But, like in most wars, they were fairly late.
So when did the Civil War begin and why did it begin?
The Civil War began roughly in the beginning of the 1800s. A lot of people try to say that it was over slavery. Slavery was a front for the real problem.
So what exactly was the real problem? I thought it had something to do with slavery.
It had to do with the North doing to the South what England did to America. The North had resources that the South needed, and because the South needed it and the North got greedy, they started passing taxations on imports and exports throughout the states. The railroads and everything. The South was struggling to survive, and they got sick of it. They got sick of begging for President Lincoln to do something about it. So, the South succeeded into the Confederate States of America. At that time, the United States of America was two separate countries.
So basically, you're telling me that the North was doing exactly what the fucking government is doing now.
Yes, making it so hard to survive that you can barely skim by. If minimum wage goes up, the cost of
living goes up.
If the cost of living goes down, minimum wage goes down. Somebody has to be making more money than the other person.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though, is why people get so excited about minimum wage going up, but it's not an okay thing for minimum wage to go up.
No, because the price of a gallon of milk, just say right now it's $5. What's minimum wage in Michigan? Like 15 an hour?
I think so.
15 an hour. A gallon of milk? Well, there's a quarter of your pay for an hour.
Yeah.
$5. Okay? If minimum wage was pushed up to $20 an hour, a gallon of milk would probably cost
10?
more like $8.50 a gallon.
Yeah, about 10. Almost there. $1.
10 would be like 50% of what you make in an hour.
Exactly. So, I already knew that,
Part of our government's problem, part of our economy's problem is we are importing more than we are exporting. America has goods that are valuable to the rest of the world. Okay? But somehow, some way, we are getting the same goods at cheap ass quality. guaranteed to break down in 5 minutes from other countries that can't make it like we make it. They can't make these parts as good as we do.
Now, see, that's what I don't understand. If we can make these parts here, why in the hell is the government getting it from all these other places?
Because it saves on on our own natural resources, but at the same time, the government is also making deals with these other countries for the simple fact that it's sort of a tit for tat arrangement. Because they're importing it, they have valid fucking reason to take more of your hard-earned money. You gotta think. All right. Say this vape, for instance. I don't know where this was made, but just say this vape was made in China.
Okay. Everything's made in China.
Okay. Point taken. That should be a serious lesson for those of you out there who are watching. Just say this vape was made in China.
Okay.
This vape is made of plastic. I'm assuming natural nicotine derived from tobacco into liquid form. Okay. It has aluminum, nickel, steel, everything that we have here in our country already.
Yeah.
But just say we can get about 1,000 of these from China, but instead of paying $25 per one of these, we're only paying about $8 for one of these made in China, because the Chinese work faster than we do, because they have cheaper quality material than we do. The cheaper quality material means more of them can get made in one sitting.
Okay, I have a question. I understand all that, okay? But remember earlier when we were talking about how
Supply and demand?
no, like yeah, the cows and shit
Yes,
and
supply and demand.
supply and demand. What happened to trades? I'll give you some meat if you give me food for my cows. What happened to all that? Why did it all turn into money?
Well, because some trades are not worth what's being traded. All right? If I came up to you with a cow and said, I'd like to trade my cow for your whole chicken coop. You have like 500 chickens in one coop. I'll edit that out. Say you have a cow and I want to trade it for all the chickens in my coop. Say I have probably 3 times this cow's weight. On average, a cow weighs anywhere from 800 pounds to over a ton. Okay? Which, or not a ton, but over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Because a ton is 2,000 pounds. I have to remember that. But basically, this cow weighs more than all of these chickens put together. All these chickens are like 5 pounds.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if they have chickens and he has a cow, why can't they be like, I will trade you 2 dozen of eggs for 1 bucket of milk?
Because what if out of those 2 dozen of eggs, half the dozen is bad? Half the 2 dozen of eggs you promised are bad. It's called a contingency. There used to be a thing called bartering, which is what you're talking about, trading one thing for another.
Yeah.
The Native Americans did this a lot. They would not just take a handout. They would give something in return. Pretty much at some point people just started being greedy and saying it's not a fair trade. It's not a fair trade. It's a system that failed.
So the government created money.
A way to pay the debt.
But hold on a minute. didn't like Britain and all that in the Middle East already have like the money created and we just kind of stole their idea, or did we make money first?
We kind of stole their idea.
That's what I figured.
Everything is a ripoff of somebody else's work, just done better or done a
Then
different way.
then how come the how come the American dollar is worth more than any other dollar out there?
It's worth more because of the fact that we are a melting pot of civilizations, trades. We have more uses out of our land and resources than a Swiss Army knife. We are so valuable because of what we can do, what we have, and what we can do with it. Our ingenuity, our way to take, okay, at one time corn was just corn. Somebody had to think, I wonder if I ferment this corn, if I can make an alcoholic beverage by adding a little of this. Somebody somewhere came up with the idea to take what's already been done and do it better.
But didn't alcoholic beverages like come from a bad peach?
Believe it or not, that's how all fine wines are made.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, so
Mead, the drink of choice of Vikings, is a malt liquor.
yeah.
Basically a very, very strong beer. It's a very strong beer. Mead is a really strong beer. And it existed with the Vikings, but the Vikings also had wine. Okay? Beer, everybody seems to think that beer originated in this place and this place. No. Beer was all over the place. Hops are all over this world. They were just made into different recipes.
Right.
And the recipes just got improved on and improved on and improved on until, well, bam, we have a can of Budweiser. Okay?
Yeah.
This cherry pop. This is cherry cola, right? At one time, this was just cola.
Actually, it's cherry Pepsi.
I was trying not to say name, but okay.
Oh.
At one time, this was just a regular Pepsi. Okay? I love regular Pepsi. I love it even more with a hint of cherry. Somebody came up with the idea to crush the juice out of cherries and use it to add flavor to something that already existed. Coca-Cola started out as a cough syrup. Main ingredient? Cocaine. I love the cocaine. I love the cocaine.
Yep, that's why they have so much sugar in it nowadays, because it came from a cocoa leaf.
Yep. And now,
See, it wasn't actually cocaine, it was a cocoa leaf. The cocoa leaf is technically made into cocaine.
yep.
So it was just cocoa leaves. It wasn't.
Cocoa beans are made into everything from coffee to chocolate. So in a way, we're still supporting the legal cocaine industry.
Did you know chocolate makes you horny?
Yes, it does.
Why do you think you give chocolate to people on Valentine's Day? You're trying to get laid.
Of course. I mean, it's the number one day for brewing babies. I mean, come on.
But it's true though. If you look it up on Google, it will tell you that chocolate does make you horny.
Yes, it actually induces a chemical in the
your
brain
yeah.
that actually activates primal pleasure centers. Did you know that cats are 25% compatible with humans?
Yeah.
Genetically. They're 25% compatible.
Jesus Christ.
Excuse me, I had to let some demons out. Oh man, it's just like spaghetti. Did you know spaghetti actually came from China? Marco Polo, an Italian, I want to call him a nomad because he traveled the world just learning different cultures, but really he was a Renaissance artist. Marco Polo traveled to China, learned how they made their noodles. He liked it so much that he brought the way to make the noodles back home to Italy and simply just created a sauce out of meat, tomatoes, and herbs.
Yeah, it's just as bad as I told my sister this joke. All right, I was texting her and I was like, "Lori, did you know French fries are actually made in Greece?" And she's like, "Well, why don't we call them grease fries?" And I was like,
the term is Greek.
I know.
I caught that joke. That joke went over her head like.
I was like, "Lori, what?"
How does she not have a bald spot on her head from how quickly that went past her?
Yeah.
She should have an old man bald spot right on the top of her head. Can you be any more blonde? You actually have blonde hair and that wouldn't have gone over you.
She's like, "Why don't we call them grease fries?" I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, it's just like, did you know that the very first automobile was actually a Mercedes-Benz?
Nice.
Engineered in the year 1899.
Well, no wonder why they're so expensive.
Yeah, they're the oldest manufacturing company there is.
Do you ever notice that, like, everybody has a car? Or back in the day, like, only the rich people had a car and everyone drove horses. But nowadays, only the rich people have horses, but everybody drives a car.
I'm sorry, but the way I see it is back then, what the fuck were you thinking? Only capable of driving a maximum of 15 miles an hour. My fucking Tennessee Walker can walk faster than that. Not even gallop, walk. I used to have a Tennessee Walker. It's a breed of horse. When I was very young, his name was CJ.
Are you talking about
the
horses
original?
can walk faster than cars?
They used to.
Huh.
Cars were so you didn't have to spend so much in horse feed, because horse feed was getting outrageous in those days. Just like it is now. That's why poor people have broken down, run down pieces of shit, lemons for fucking cars. And rich people have fucking cattle and horse ranches. My, how the roles reverse.
For real.
Hell,
It's just like,
when my mom was a teenager, you could get a brand spanking new vehicle for damn near 10 grand. Now, you're lucky if 10 grand gets you a decent fucking car. Anything below $1,000, if it's running, it's not going to be running for long.
yeah, ain't that the truth?
Now, for what you spend for a fucking car, you can buy a small house. My Meemaw has a truck. I'm not going to tell you what truck it is because I don't want anybody thinking we're bashing brands here.
Okay.
But I love this truck. It is a big ass truck. It is a nice ass truck. It's got the touchscreen display. It's got like 2 or 3 different fucking cameras built into the tailgate.
Nice.
The license plate and all that shit. An annoying ass fucking beeper noise when you get too close to something. It's a very nice truck.
Okay.
This truck is almost $100,000. For 100 fucking grand, babe. I've seen houses for sale up here that look like mansions for 100 grand. It's pretty bad when your truck costs as much as your house.
Yep.
And all it is just chaos to blind the average Joe from seeing what's going on. And what's going on is simply everybody wants a piece of America. You know, I've been asking you for years, but honestly, do you want some of this? Does everybody in the world really want some of this?
What do you mean?
Americans are fucking lazy!
They're fucking idiots.
Okay? I don't have to have a 206 IQ to be the smartest person to walk through the halls of my high school. That just required fucking common sense. Hey, I think it's a bad idea to toss a whole fucking can of cinnamon in your mouth to see if you can fucking swallow it.
Yeah.
Hey, Tide Pods. We use these to wash our clothes. Let's eat them and see what happens.
People eat Tide Pods?
That was a trend. It was the Tide Pod fucking challenge.
What the fuck?
Idiot committed suicide and somebody fucking thought it was cool? I mean, okay, something silly like the ice bucket challenge I could understand. You know, because on a hot fucking summer day, your balls are sweating, or your tits, whatever you might have, whether you're a guy, girl, possibly fucking both.
Everything was just hot as balls and sweating.
Yes. Okay? Who wouldn't want a 5-gallon bucket of ice dumped on them on a hot summer fucking day? Okay? I'd accept that fucking challenge. I'm from the South, okay? I've been up here in the North for, what, 7 months now? Going on 8 months? And I still got moss growing out of my balls. That's how humid it is in the South, okay?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking hot down there.
The real temperature could only be a whopping 85 degrees. Guess what the real feel is? Over 100.
Yeah.
All because of the fucking moisture in the air. But that's that's the geography of it.
This is where science comes in.
Yes.
It's closer to the border or some shit?
No, it's actually closer to the equator.
Equator. That's what I fucking meant. Equator.
The equator is the centermost line that goes around our planet.
Yep.
It is absolute zero from top to bottom. It's the centermost point. Do you know what the prime meridian is?
What's that?
The prime meridian is the longitude line and where it meets.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, I just don't know the names to shit, you know?
But hey, you want to know another really cool scientific fact about the equator and the prime meridian?
What?
Where they meet at is actually where all hurricanes come from. Right off
Yeah.
the coast of South Africa.
Right.
Or West Africa, I'm sorry, Cape Cod.
Do they hit Africa before they come to the U.S.?
They normally just spawn and then slingshot off in our direction. But the same thing happens in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Right where those lines meet, in between Japan and Indonesia.
Okay.
Like Indonesia is down here and Japan's
Is
up
that
here.
kind of what happens with earthquakes?
Earthquakes are a different story. See, the ground you stand on is constantly moving and changing. These are the tectonic
And
plates.
this normally happens by fucking California, right?
Yes, California, what they call the San Andreas fault line, is where two tectonic plates meet. This is why California has so many earthquakes, is because it literally sits on a fault line. A fault line is the line in between two tectonic plates. And when they rub together so fucking hard, it creates friction.
What makes them rub together?
Gravity, expansion, the world changing.
So kind of what happened when the
It's
Earth...
kind of what happens when say you blow up a balloon.
Yeah.
You draw pictures on it, and then you let the air out. The pictures don't look the same.
No.
But when you blow it back up, the balloon expands and the pictures become clear. There is actually a theory that one day the San Andreas Fault is going to shake so hard that most of the state of California west of the San Andreas Fault line will actually fall into the Pacific Ocean.
What makes it shake?
The two tectonic plates pushing together and vibrating
Yeah, I
up
get
and
it,
down.
but what makes them vibrate is what I'm asking. What makes
the
it
tectonic
happen?
plates growing?
Oh, they're
becoming
growing?
larger. Yeah.
So over time, they're getting more and more big. Do they go into different states, or do they just stay in California?
When tectonic plates push together, heat from the Earth's core pushes on these fault lines. And when these fault lines are shaking hard enough and they're growing hard enough, mountains form from the tectonic plates. The ground has nowhere to go but up.
Because of the gravity. So what happens with volcanoes? Why do they burst?
Volcanoes tend to erupt basically as the Earth's way of ventilating its own internal heat. See, the reason...
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Volcanoes go all the way down to the Earth's core.
Down to the Earth's core, yeah, and it's so hot down there,
it blows hot magma up. And volcanoes are basically the Earth's way of controlling its own heat.
Yeah.
Much like when you have a pressure buildup, say in like a steam engine, a steam engine has a release valve. The release valve is designed to release the steam when the pressure gets built up to the max that it can handle.
Right.
And the steam blows out the top.
It's
the same thing with a volcano.
It's kind of like tornadoes, because Tornado Alley is cold and hot, so it has...
When hot and cold air collide,
it starts a fucking...
It swirls.
Yeah, it starts
They mix
swirling.
together and it creates a whirlwind, and a whirlwind becomes a tornado.
Yeah, a tornado. That completely... Sorry. My dad explained that one to me about Tornado Alley, why it happens so much in between.
You have the warm air coming from the south,
And
the
then-
warm humid air,
And then the cold air
the
coming
cold
from
dry air coming from the north.
because it's right next to the desert up here and down here.
Mm-hmm. I love science.
I love science. I know, it's fucking awesome.
It's just like, have you ever heard of a magnetic slingshot?
Maybe, explain more.
I've kind of designed one and made one before, but I might do a video and make another one.
Okay.
Basically, I take two magnets and I put them inside this 4-pronged fork.
Okay.
There's 2 prongs on the bottom. This holds the magnets. There's 2 prongs on the top. This carries a magnetic charge. And basically, when these magnets spin, they lift up. And when they lift up and they connect with the copper wire up top, it creates a magnetic force that pushes forward in the direction that both magnets are spinning together. One would be spinning to the left, the other spins to the right. So these 2 magnets create a magnetic charge that pulls a steel ball pen or
right
a steel ball bearing that's resting right at the top, just on top of the copper wire. As soon as those magnets make contact, the steel ball shoots forward. And when it hits in between those magnets...
Is that kind of how guns are made?
Kind of, yeah. But guns are more explosives than anything.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is known as electromagnetic projection weaponry. No combustion needed.
Okay.
And it has 10 times the force of any firearm you can pair with it. Magnets are so fun that some people believe they're even the answer to creating perpetual energy. I disagree with that. Perpetual energy, in case you're wondering, is energy that never stops producing. What people don't understand is energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is only transferred and transformed. Transformation is the amplification of energy. Basically, my own design to create longer, more clean, sufficient energy relies on velocity. Because the faster this energy spins, the more it builds up before it finally releases. In simplicity, the faster it spins, the hotter it burns. The hotter it burns, the more power it makes. Implicating the alternation line to feed power back to the original power source, the start of the whole maze. And you have a revolving source of power that's constantly putting out and regenerating. Hence, it would make most forms of generators obsolete, and hence why I will never make it. No need to paint a target on my back. I'm doing that well enough by myself. Oh. So, I got something I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Alright, so with we were on the whole topic of religion.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be crazy if everybody just realized that science and magic are the same thing? I've seen you literally debug magician parlor tricks. There were cheap little parlor tricks, but to the naked eye looked like pure magic. I've seen you debunk those.
Yeah.
But what if?
I told him exactly what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, what if what our ancestors conceived to be magic might have been advanced technology carried by a divine force?
You know, that's trippy as fuck.
Think about it. In Greek mythology, Zeus was king of the gods, and his weapon of choice was mighty thunderbolts forged for him by the Greek forge of the gods.
Okay.
His name was Hephaestus. Hephaestus was the blacksmith of the gods in Greek mythology. He made Zeus's lightning bolts that he threw and literally made lightning strike the earth. Okay? What if what the Greeks considered to be thunderbolts, the god of lightning, what if they were actually compressed spears with some sort of electrical discharge that allowed them to function like spears, but also appear as lightning bolts?
Kind of like your magnet?
Exactly. Using magnetic reverse polarity, which means
But
reversing the direction of the electricity.
Right, but everything was a lot more
Primitive back then.
Yeah, like
To
people.
us.
To us, it's normal because we have electronics and all this other shit. But to everyone else, it like back then, it was creepy and
Strange. It was magic. It was witchcraft. It was power of the gods. But what if the gods of the ancient world were really just angels sent down here to give us a celestial ass whooping every once in a while.
In a way, that's how
Parenting runs.
Well, that's how all religions see it.
I mean,
like, Christianity, Wiccan, and all that other shit. That's exactly. It's all kind of the same shit.
Do you know what the psychic sciences are truly about?
What?
Psychic sciences, and it is considered a form of science, is the practice of accessing the restricted sensors within our brains to achieve higher levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
This includes breaking through the veil of time and space, seeing
That's
the
what
future.
happens when you meditate.
Yes. Meditation is a way to focus the energy of your body into certain portions of yourself.
But we get the energy from the earth.
Exactly. That's why you always sit either with your legs folded under you.
Because it shows the four.
Because it's your connection to the earth. So long as you are touching the earth, you have infinite power.
Yeah.
What most people don't understand is that power becomes toxic when you
if you use it in the wrong way. Yes. If you don't stay humble, it becomes, I own you. You
Pretty
know what
much.
I'm saying?
People have become too used to having power. I wish we could go back to simpler times where power was kept out of reach of human hands.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where the government. It seems like everything just ties back to the goddamn government.
Emphasis on the goddamn.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but even I believe that mankind was never meant to have politics. That was not something of God's creation. That was something of man's own doing.
Yeah, but God just wants to see how everybody plays out. Because, He made us all free in a way, so He's basically, kind of like Bruce Almighty said, we're all ants, and He's fucking with us with a magnifying glass.
As much as I like to think God has a sense of humor like that, I think honestly for Him it's a game of Russian roulette. How many times can I pull this trigger before the gun goes off? And the gun, realistically, is just evolution with us. Think about it. We will go through so many years of religious suppression, and then we'll hit an epiphany, a revolution that advances us.
What ifs.
Yeah.
And then people make do. People do.
A wise friend of mine once said that strong men breed good times. Good times breed strong men. Or good times breed weak men. I'll just cut this part out. Alex, go back to the room. Go! Anyway, I'll start it from this point. A wise friend of mine once said that good times breed weak men. Weak men breed hard times. And hard times breed strong men.
Basically evolution.
It's always a revolving cycle. Camera's catching every bit of this. I think I'm just going to cut it at that. I'll just cut it at that and leave a little end video of just me after he's asleep. And say, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is kind of how our conversations work when we're brainstorming. And we just wanted to show you guys what it's like to be inside the studio. Thank you for watching the 12th episode.
7:45. It's got like 15 minutes before an hour.